Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Magic. Have you ever felt that when a journey is almost over, that's exactly when everything feels the most honest? Vietnam is almost coming to an end, and whether intentionally or not, Jimin and Jungkook seem to have chosen these final days to give everything they have. Not through grand drama, not through staged moments, but through the smallest things that feel the most real. Laughter released without restraint, glances that linger just a little longer than usual, and a closeness that feels increasingly inseparable. This season is not just a journey. It feels like a season of healing, gentle, calm, and full of warmth. The visuals are soft, the rhythm unhurried, as if inviting us to breathe more deeply and savor every second without rushing. Yet just when everything feels peaceful, the emotions reach their peak. Vietnam is about to end. And in these final days, Jimin and Jungkook do not choose grandeur. They choose honesty. From parasailing together, laughing high above the ground as if the world no longer carries any weight, to releasing lanterns into the river, letting those small lights carry prayers and hopes away. Everything feels like a warm embrace, safe, comforting. And honestly, wouldn't it be natural for our hearts to start wondering? Could it be that this gentlest season will close in the most romantic way? Imagine a quiet night, calm water, a soft breeze. On a boat, there are only the two of them. No intrusive camera lights, no noise from the outside world, no pressure to look funny, charming, or perfect. Just two people sitting side by side, letting the silence speak for them. Not a crowded date, not a grand surprise, but simple, sincere togetherness. Shoulders brushing, almost no space between them, and a comfort that's hard to explain. A sense of safety that only appears when you truly trust the person beside you. If the season is truly about warmth, healing, and a closeness that feels more real than ever, then an ending like that feels right. Because romance doesn't always mean extravagance. Sometimes, romance lives in honest simplicity. And if this journey ends with a quiet date on a boat, perhaps that is the most beautiful ending, soft, calm, and full of feeling. It's not an exaggeration to say this show has become a happy pill for many of us. A safe space to pause from a tiring world. A place to smile without reason and feel unconditional warmth. It's hard not to hope that a journey like this will never truly end. But just when the atmosphere feels the calmest and most emotional, they return to being themselves. A game begins. And as always, everything changes in a matter of seconds. It starts with Jimin's shout, his voice rising, half panicked, half dramatic. Then, without warning, the distance between them completely disappears. They face each other, too close, too intense, foreheads almost touching, faces only inches apart, hands gripping each other's clothes, as if stepping back is no longer an option. This is not anger. This is not conflict. This is Jikook energy, energy that has always felt far too alive to be called ordinary. Jimin looks noisy, nervous, emotional. He protests, reacts, seems like he wants to pull away, yet never truly does. And Jungkook? He's calm, too calm. The small smile on his face says everything. He's enjoying this, enjoying the chaos he created, enjoying every reaction from Jimin, every shout, every small movement, every second where the space between them disappears. Jungkook always knows exactly which buttons to press, and he presses them without hesitation. What stands out most isn't the intensity, but what they don't do. They don't step back. They don't create distance. They don't try to break the closeness. Everything feels instinctive, natural, comfortable, as if personal space simply isn't a concept that applies to them. Look at Jungkook's smile in that moment. Not a victorious smile, but the smile of someone who is genuinely savoring every second of that closeness. And Jimin? Even while shouting and protesting, he stays. He doesn't leave. He doesn't avoid it. As if there's always something pulling him back into Jungkook's space. A place where his emotions are allowed to be messy, and he is still fully accepted. At this point, their argument feels more intimate than most romantic scenes on television. Why are their faces that close? Why does neither of them feel the need to create distance? Sometimes closeness doesn't need a definition. It simply exists, is felt, and it's allowed to grow in its own way. That's what makes this show so special, because it doesn't just give us warm silence, but also laughter-filled chaos, healing and madness, calm and intensity, all coexisting, just like Jimin and Jungkook themselves. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. Is Jungkook simply enjoying teasing Jimin a little too much? Or is this the way they communicate without words? Because if closeness like this is their language, then we are witnessing something far deeper than just a journey. This final chapter amplifies every feeling to its peak. There's no room to miss a single smile, a single glance, a single laugh. Everything feels meaningful, because this is where the authenticity of their chemistry truly shines. And there's one important fact that makes everything even more significant. Season 2 of Are You Sure was filmed just 4 days after they completed their mandatory military service. 4 days, a time that's nearly impossible to truly reset one's life. Yet, instead of distancing themselves, their first step was to meet again, to travel together, to spend time together. This wasn't an obligation. It was a choice. From the very beginning, that choice was already visible, when they enlisted together and became unit mates. Personal, brave decision built on trust. Jungkook chose Jimin, because he knows who he can lean on, who makes him feel safe, who can be his pillar of strength. The small details reinforce everything. Sharing the same chocolate, conversations about family, paying attention to each other's sleeping habits. Everything feels intimate, personal, real. This is Jikook. Not because of grand moments, not because of dramatic gestures, but because of attention to detail and consistent presence. Vietnam becomes a witness to the final chapter we can see. A chapter that confirms their togetherness is real, something to be felt, not questioned. And that's where the beauty lies, because sometimes romance doesn't need to be explained. It simply needs to be felt. Vietnam may end, this season may be over, but the feelings left behind, warmth, comfort, and that connection, will continue to live on with us. Thank you for accompanying this journey with Jikook Magic. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you feel the same way. See you in the next Jikook moment, because their story never truly ends.